Well, I'll start with an opening statement. You probably know what I'm going to say, but I thought our crowd was amazing. It reminded me of our UConn home game, and I don't know what the point differential is today with the crowd we have, but it's plus something for us. Our students are amazing, and just everybody fed off of that energy. I know we gave our crowd a lot to cheer about, and that becomes our responsibility. But when you play in front of a home court advantage like that, it means a lot. The best programs in the country have that in place, and we have that in place as well. Next Saturday with students on spring break, my hope is that we can duplicate this environment maybe in a different way, but it'll be really important that we have that type of crowd for no less of an important game against Providence next Saturday. So thank you to our crowd. And in terms of the game, all you have to do is look at our assists. 24. If in a game, if you can get 24 assists, I think any coach would take that. And I would say the same thing about 6 turnovers. If you just had 6 turnovers, regardless of how many assists you had, I think any coach takes 6 turnovers. We had both. 24 assists and 6 turnovers shows you that we played at the highest level that we could offensively here today.
How good of a sign was it for you? You build a 20-point lead, Creighton cuts it to 8, but you're able to pull away in that crunch time, the game pressure that you've talked about after it's been a little shakier in that area a couple times on the road.
Yeah, you guys can do your own research, but I think if you look at our 5 of our last 6 or 6 of our last 7, whatever it is, and you just stop the action at halftime, it would have mirrored today's game in a lot of ways, both the score, and some of the statistics that we've had going for us. Our team's problem is, and it's not always easy to do, to be that dominant or as good or be able to be successful for 20 minutes in the second half as well. And that's when you play a complete game. And if you look at the final score of a lot of those games, it really wasn't indicative of maybe the first 24 minutes that we were clearly the better team. The last 16 or 8 minutes, 12 minutes of a lot of those games, our opponent was the better team, and they make that run. And then you look at the final score, and you're thrilled that you win, but you just always leave the game with an empty feeling of, God, I feel like we could have been better at the end. Today, we played a complete game. We played really well at the end, made a couple shots, and it was good that we didn't let them back in the game.
Coach, in that first meeting, Ryan Kalkbrenner scores 29, and they go 11 of 25 from 3. In this game, he had 23, but they only go 6 for 24 from 3-point range. How did you take away the 3-point shooting this time around?
This won't make any sense, but we literally were like, there's no way, under any circumstances, Kalkbrenner can get 20 in this game. That's what we did. And he had 23. And we didn't really worry as much about the 3-point shot because we just felt that one of the big problems we've had the last 6 games is he's been dominant. So we're clear, before today, he was averaging 20.5 points against us and shooting 77%. I think he had 41 made field goals. That's not even counting what he does on defense. And our game plan was we can't let him have that type of performance again, and he did. I would just say this, I've been around college for a while now. I've coached a couple big guys that when I say their name, Lowry Markkinen, DeAndre Ayton, David West, those are guys that are long-time NBA players. I have never seen one player mean so much to a team or program than Ryan Kalkbrenner has meant to Creighton. And I don't mean that in a derogatory sense towards their other players. I'm only talking to you about him. What he does for their defense, how he covers, how smart he is, his block shots, his rebounding, and then his total development on offense in the way that he is coached on offense and how he has improved. It is really difficult to play Creighton with him. And I have great faith that we will watch Ryan Kalkbrenner for years to come as an NBA player. I believe it. I think that game is perfectly suited for his skill set, his size, and his mind. He has such a great mind. So I don't think there's a way he can come back. I hope we don't play him again in New York. I told him at the end of our game, I just hope that's the last time him and I are ever on the same court again, because nobody has wrecked the team that I've been a part of more than Kalkbrenner has. And that's 7 games now and counting.
What did you tell Dalen to do with the way they were guarding him today?
We've seen it a couple times with Butler, maybe early, Michigan, and Creighton can do that. I think just don't allow that to affect all the other things he does well, and to continue to be aggressive. He was 5 for 16, and he was really close to being like 8 for 16. He was just really close for being like, 3 baskets in a row, and now they kind of get out of that. But I don't know on their end if they felt like it worked or it didn't, but I thought for us, we handled it well. And I think it's great experience for Dalen, that if we see it again, I think he'll be that much more comfortable.
Sean, since the St. John's game here to this point, what have you learned about your team, and do you have a confident feeling about what you are, the identity of your team now?
We're getting better. We're playing our best basketball of the year. All coaches want that to be the case, and right now that is the case for us. One of the things that we've done a good job, we haven't gotten too far ahead of ourselves, and yet we haven't gotten too down if things haven't gone well. And I think it's really important for us as we approach the final week of our regular season that remains true. We know we have a big test on Wednesday on the road against Butler. How we can come out of this game, leave this game, how we can now play on the road against a good team, a really good crowd. That becomes our next challenge, and embracing it, being excited about it, being ready to play the game. And we've been that way for several weeks now, and I don't see any reason why that can't continue. We have a lot of guys that are highly motivated in a good way.
Sean, can you explain what life is like on the bubble and how you help your guys deal with that?
Life is only on the bubble if you allow it to be that. If you're completely engrossed in the practice, communicating with players, getting ready for the opponent, holding everybody accountable, and focused on the task at hand as we approached that day and the next game, all of that is just kind of happening while you're immersed in that. It's easier said than done, but I don't really look at it as we're on it, we're off it, as much as how much can we be ready, what do we need to do to be better, and how do I get these guys locked in on being the best group we can be against Butler. That's what we've talked a lot about. And, Kobe Bryant has so many things that when he's been asked questions or was asked questions, his answer is just, it's an iconic answer. He had such a killer instinct as a player. And one of the things he talked a lot about is being fearless. And the way he explained it when asked about it is, being fearless starts with just, putting yourself out there and being willing to risk, may not go well. And I think when you start talking about the bubble, you're almost accepting oh my God, if it pops, and it creates this mindset of, the good, the bad, the what ifs. It's not about that. It's about trying to be great. It's about trying to play great. It's trying to be ready. And first you have to be willing as a team to put yourself out there and go for it. And our team has done a good job of that. We have to continue to do a good job of that. Things went well for us today. That can't affect us in any way as we approach the next 3 or 4 days. And I think that's the mindset we've been in.
Next question.
Coach, when people look back on this game at the stat sheet, one of the valid questions might be, why were people chanting John Hughley's name? What was he doing? What was the impact he was making? Can you just speak to the impact he makes as somebody who may not be stuff in the stat sheet right now, but is certainly someone that the fans notice, and why is that happening?
Yeah, you know, I think that our fans really understand the game. It's an educated group. They've seen a lot of great basketball here for decades. And when you watch our team, you know that, you know, when John's able to come in the game and impact winning, get a big rebound, play good post defense where we don't have to trap, being able to catch the ball and score, it makes us a better team. And, you know, down the stretch, you know, we're going to really rely on John to come in and give us that physical presence. He didn't do a lot in terms of his stat sheet today, but his 10 minutes were very valuable in today's game because of Kalkbrenner's size. And, you know, Screen, Butler's big guy on Wednesday, he's a big guy as well. And, you know, John will be a factor in that game too.
Thanks, Sean.